Welcome, everybody. How are you doing? We have a Lori live, right? Glad y'all are here. So, what I'm going to do is it's about 30 minutes long, and I'm going to put it full screen. Okay. You can hear it very well. That's good. And we'll just at the end of it, after the 30 minutes, I'll come back on and then we will, talk, questions, answers, what we can provide, and all that good stuff. So, without further ado, I usually waste a lot of time. Good to see you guys. I'm so glad you're here. Impromptu live, right? Yeah. Oh, wrong one. Right here. Let me fix my aspect. She's so pretty. You see her hair? She has the doggy do, right? The dog do. All right, let me get back to this so I can make it larger. And I'll go ahead and turn on the caption. So,
pending a hearing at the Rule 11 court last week. So what's the status, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. And just to briefly put on the record, what we didn't put on the record was we had requested to seal this hearing because it does discuss sensitive information. I understand the prior court's ruling, but just to have on the record that we did request that it be sealed. So where we're at with, we had a hearing, an initial Rule 11 hearing with Commissioner Boudreaux. He had received the reports. One of those reports is competent. The other doctor indicated she wasn't able to make a report, even though she had done a records review. Commissioner Boudreaux, from my understanding, was willing to stipulate to competency based on the one report. Even though Ms. Vallow wasn't present, it's outside their normal process to stipulate to competency if a defendant's not there. But given the unique circumstances, he was, at least it was my understanding, he was willing to do that. However, the state objected, wanting Dr. Hernandez's report. So what I would like to do is go back over the LeCount case because I think it's completely on point with case law and where we're at with this case. So when we started with you, I believe it was on November 6th, you had indicated that you were willing, at least inclined, to withdraw prior counsel's Rule 11 motion until Ms. Vallow indicated that she wanted to represent herself. We brought up the LeCount case. I went back through that case pretty thoroughly, and I'm just going to kind of walk through it. That case starts off with that Ms. Vallow has an absolute right to represent herself, and then it goes into what has to be established before she can represent herself. She has to show a sufficient mental capacity to understand the nature of the dispute, formulate a defense, and engage with court, counsel, all of the people in the cases. The court can look at, the court has to look at some evidence in order to make that finding of putting her in Rule 11 before allowing her to represent herself. But there has to be a history of irrational behavior, some medical opinion documenting incompetency, or something else, and the defendant's demeanor. So the court has to find reasonable grounds. And that doesn't include an uncooperative attitude. You have to have a reasonable doubt as to her competency before we can place her in Rule 11. And the last part of LeCount talks about potentially just doing a preliminary evaluation and maybe getting one report before moving into a full Rule 11 evaluation. So I'm going to walk through what we have in this case. Again, she has an absolute right to represent herself. She has the sufficient mental capacity to understand the nature of the dispute, formulate a defense. We've now had a couple of conversations. We believe that she's able to do that, so we are avowing to the court that she's able to do that. So far, there's been no history. The state and Your Honors had this case for almost a year. You've had chances to see Ms. Vallow in court. To my understanding, there's been no history of irrational behavior. We now have a medical opinion from Dr. McGady who says that she's competent. There's been nothing else in her demeanor.
Did that doctor meet with her?
He spoke with her briefly. He didn't do a full evaluation, but he did speak with her. He did do a records review. I will point out his records review, his report, he kind of summarized what all of us have been saying was that maybe the Rule 11 and I don't want to get into previous counsel's thoughts, but Your Honor told us last court that you weren't really sure that you should have put her in Rule 11. We then showed up and said, we don't think this should be here. Dr. McGady's report, he did a review of CHS records and basically said maybe this stemmed from a disagreement. So again, uncooperative behavior doesn't equal incompetency. Again, she hasn't displayed any irrational behavior. You have Dr. McGady's report. As far as waiting around for Dr. Hernandez to do a report, we have concerns about that. She's already wrote a letter to the court indicating she's watched movies about this prior to being appointed. She's gone outside of what my understanding of typical Rule 11. If you have a client in Rule 11, they refuse to talk to the doctor. The defense attorney shows up at that initial 11 hearing, says, I've now gone and spoke to my client. They didn't really fully understand. Now they're going to cooperate with the doctor. Then the doctor goes back out a second time. We've spoke to lots of attorneys in our office. We've spoke with our attorney who's in Rule 11 regularly. It's very rare that a doctor attempts to go back out to speak with a client a second time. Normally, I would never advise a client to not speak in Rule 11. However, we are defense attorneys. That is Rule 101. Your client shouldn't talk. And in this particular circumstance, we are saying we don't think she needs to be in Rule 11. So I don't think waiting around for Dr. Hernandez is going to get us anywhere. And we certainly don't need it to meet all of the evidence that is required in the count. And I think I had one other. The last thing is we don't see this with the state. How often do we see the state trying to keep a client into Rule 11 proceedings? So we now have Your Honor, who was concerned about the Rule 11 and didn't necessarily think it was appropriate. We have said that. Dr. McGady has now said that. Commissioner Motorosian, who was willing to stipulate to her competency. All of these people who are saying we believe she's competent, you should withdraw Rule 11, withdraw previous counsel's Rule 11, allow Ms. Vallow to be pro per. If at some point you or the state see something that is concerning, we can certainly put her in Rule 11 again. Competency is fluid. Again, we've never seen the state fight to keep someone in competency proceedings. It's usually the complete opposite. That's all I have.
Okay. Well, is a big distinction from the LeCount case in this defendant's case, because according to prior counsel's motion for Rule 11, she was previously found incompetent in another jurisdiction and put into some sort of restoration process.
And then found competent and tried.
Correct.
All we're saying is that where we're at right now, you asked us to come back and give you some evidence of competency. I think we have more than provided that at this point. And at this point, we're just delaying any speedy trial rights, any fundamental right to represent herself.
All right. Well, if she were allowed to represent herself prior to that, I'd have to go through a colloquy with her and get some information, and based on that information could still refer her for a Rule 11 depending on her answers to those questions.
Sure, and that was supposed to be my last point. Was we haven't even done that colloquy with her, so let's do that and see where we end up.
All right. Well, ma'am, I am going to ask you a series of questions, and that could inform what happens next. Have you previously in any other criminal proceeding been referred for a competency determination?
Yes, previously.
All right. And were you ever previously determined to be incompetent at any point?
Not to my understanding. So my understanding was that the judge did the same thing that you did. In abundance of caution, let's go ahead and put her in and see, and I came out competent.
Well, when you say you came out competent, was there a period of time where you were ruled as incompetent?
I would say technically they did do that. That's how they put you into the program in that state. Correct.
How long were you in that program?
I was in that program for about 10 months.
Okay. And what types of things did they give you classes? What types of things did they speak to you about where you went through some process where you were later deemed competent?
I did go through a process of several things, several classes, competency class, and meeting with doctors and evaluators, many evaluators.
Are you aware of any diagnosis that you were given?
Yes.
And what is that?
We're going to object to that, especially with this being public and not sealed.
It's not relevant to this determination.
Okay, well then.
This was almost 2 years
okay.
ago.
Then I'm going to keep her in the Rule 11 process to determine that. And
Approach and discuss with you without it being on the without public on the record, but not public.
you mean as far as the diagnosis?
Yes.
Sure.
Or I don't know how.
All that was on the record. The court reporter took it down despite the white noise.
But it was sealed for the public.
What
correct?
What was that?
That part was sealed.
I haven't sealed anything yet, but I can. All right, I'm inclined to keep Ms. Vallow in the Rule 11 process based on the prior attorneys. I understand these attorneys today disagree with the prior attorney's assessment. But because of that conflicting viewpoint, I think I need to let the Rule 11 process play out. So do you want to, anything additional you want to put on the record regarding that?
There's a couple of, can I just have a moment to?
Sure.
I think last part is we haven't finished the colloquy, so we can just finish that, just so that's on the record, and then we
Well,
don't have anything to add after that.
Okay. I don't see why this would produce a significant delay. If your client comes back competent, I want to, last time you were here, you mentioned needing a lot of time to be ready. But I just want you to think about this, and maybe you want to brief it, is if she represents herself, I don't think she should be forced to waive time in order for advisory council to be ready. I think she can go to trial as soon as she's ready if she's representing herself. And I don't know if you disagree with that, and you don't have to address it today.
We don't have to brief her at all. We agree with the court's
Okay.
conclusion, and that's if she were going to proceed to trial under her speedy trial rights, that's the chance she takes going forward. We would always prepare ourselves the best as possible under the circumstances, but that shouldn't factor into the decision as to whether someone represents themselves.
I agree.
I think the court always bounds on that if that's what the court's thinking. I'm not saying it is.
No, you had thrown it out last time that you would need a significant amount of time to be ready, even if she represented herself. And when I was reflecting on that, I was thinking that I didn't know the case. So I'm glad that we're on the same page on that.
Just before the court goes forward with what I believe it's going to do, I would like the court to make a factual finding and a legal conclusion as to why the court feels it has the authority to do what's doing and the facts that support that.
All right, I think I already have repeatedly.
I would ask the court to do that again, so make it perfectly clear for the record.
All right. Her prior attorneys requested a Rule 11 based on their observations. In their motion, they cite that she's, in their opinion, suffering from some form of delusions. Next, she's been previously, in their motion, found incompetent in another jurisdiction and went through a restoration process. By her own account here today, she was in that for approximately 10 months, which seems, I know it's a different jurisdiction and it's a different standard, and but it seems that anyone that's in that process for 10 months is a significant period of time before they're determined to be competent to stand trial. So based on those factors, I think there's definitely enough to continue with the Rule 11 process. All right.
The state has one concern.
Go ahead.
Defense counsel has pointed out that they are not happy with the appointment of Dr. Hernandez. Dr. Hernandez did not go outside of the record to review anything. She indicated she had seen something on TV regarding the defendant, and it did not affect anything she was going to do in this case. However, if defense counsel is not comfortable with Dr. Hernandez being appointed, perhaps the court could appoint a different doctor. Most importantly, Judge, specifically due to the basis of the finding of incompetency in Idaho that we just found out today, I think it's incredibly important that the doctors actually speak to the defendant, because the records from the jail may not bring up the issues unless they're specifically discussed. So the doctors would, of course, inquire into those areas, knowing that that is of possible concern. So it is incredibly important that the defendant cooperate and speak to the doctors. Stipulate not the case. I have been doing this for 20 years. It's not what we do. We are
It
protecting.
happens.
We are protecting the record, Judge, so that we don't come back on appeal for ineffective assistance of counsel when they say it should have been evaluated and it wasn't.
Can I add one last point? And again, this is going to go on for a little bit longer. Even if she does go to trial in February, this case is going to go on for some time. Everybody in this courtroom is going to have an opportunity to see Ms. Vallow, to talk with her. And if there are any issues about protecting the record, it can also be done then. I understand this might be a little bit more convenient, but what we are saying is at this point, it's not necessary.
Okay. Are you requesting a different evaluator?
Yeah, we were going to, yes.
All right.
We were going to do the Rule 11.
We thought the Rule 11 doctor had to do it, so we weren't going to bring it up.
Well, I think I can do it. What was the name of the one?
Happens.
We are protecting the record, Judge, so that we don't come back on appeal for ineffective assistance of counsel when they say it should have been evaluated and it wasn't.
Can I add one last point? And again, this is going to go on for a little bit longer. Even if she does go to trial in February, this case is going to go on for some time. Everybody in this courtroom is going to have an opportunity to see Ms. Vallow, to talk with her. And if there are any issues about protecting the record, it can also be done then. I understand this might be a little bit more convenient, but what we are saying is at this point, it's not necessary.
Okay. Are you requesting a different evaluator?
Yeah, we were going to, yes.
All right.
We were going to do the Rule 11.
We thought the Rule 11 doctor had to do it, so we weren't going to bring it up.
Well, I think I can do it. What was the name of the one?
Dr. Camille Hernandez is the doctor, and we would request that Dr. McGady be ordered to visit the defendant again because of this unique circumstances. He did indicate in his report that his opinion was not as sure as it could be had he been able to interview the defendant. So the state would request that Dr. McGady reevaluate the defendant with an interview, and that this court order the defendant to cooperate to the best of her ability.
Do you want to be heard?
We're clearly going down the rabbit hole at this point. We're getting far afield from what the court's concerns are, that you're able to represent herself. Now we're discussing all of the things that are relevant to Rule 11, which I'm indicating to the court aren't necessarily probative of what you need to understand in order to make a determination whether she can represent herself. If she doesn't want to talk to the doctor, she doesn't have to talk.
What the hell? What the hell? Did they just private it? Hold on. That's because when it says this video is unavailable, that's usually what happens. Okay, let me go over there and see what the hell is showing up to here. Well, look, there's that. Here, y'all can finish looking at it. What the frick? Okay. Weird. No, can't play. Fox 10 Phoenix. A judge ruled on November 20th that Lori Vallow, the so-called Doomsday Mom, must finish the Rule 11 process to see if she is mentally fit to stand trial in her Arizona case. Vallow is charged in the fatal shooting of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow, and the attempted murder of her niece's ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux. And there's all that. So, interesting. Interesting. What the hell, man? Okay, I'm coming over there. I'm trying to finish my cigarette too. Let me put it out. I wonder why they privated it. Oh my gosh. I mean, they have the right to do that. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Yes, the portal, it always interrupts. And if it's not the portal, then we know it's Zalema. We have all the blames, you know. Chad beeped in. Oh my God. He's so quiet, isn't he? It's so nice. It's so nice, y'all. I was watching the Susan Smith appeals after 30 years, right? And I was just like, oh my God, the stuff that they had to go through. It's so sad. I don't know what happened. That we got 24 minutes and well, I don't know because I moved it. So, but we did. We got pretty far in before it looks like it was privated. You know, I've seen this before with Troy Abel's channel, The Last Dispensation, right when I was capturing that podcast of Tim Ballard's. And I got it all but 7 minutes of it. And then, you know, it's in the federal court case. But anyways, Lori, female lawyer, seems so nervous, nerved up, not a good look for her defense lawyer. Sorry, ADHD, right? And I was thinking how I watched that last part. They do zoom in on like her arms and her, you know, like this, the side of Lori's body and her hand. She's like just doing this, you know, and it looked like she was shaking a little bit, but she might have just been cold. But I mean, just for her hands she looked nervous or anxious or something. I doubt she's nervous. The bitch has cold blood. So sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, they were talking about, yeah, Lori's lawyer was very emotional. I saw that too. I was like, geez, this lady. I mean, but I'm like, Trisha Adams, you know, if Lori is wanting to represent herself, why does she have attorneys talking for her again? So it's just interesting, right? I'm not a professional. I'm here just like you guys, just trying to make sense of it. But now somebody, Helen, the Scottish llama, you're in trouble. No, I'm picking. I just saw your name again. True. Rule 11, conflict of interest, new attorneys appointed. She had asked in the chat if something about Judge Boyce, if he had revealed a diagnosis, and he did. I mean, I Googled it while we were live, but ADHD, man. Yeah, who put comments on the screen while yeah, that's a good idea. Said no ADHD person ever. Okay. All right, so I'm going to share that screen of old Boyce here, and so we'll just kind of hear what he's got to say.
Inspire, you've achieved goals in your life, you've done important things in your life.
Oh,
And I'd
right.
note that despite some of the comments here today, I have found that during my interactions with you throughout this long case, including your trial, you've been respectful of the court. Do we know what this beeping is that keeps going off?
It's Shad portaling in. Oh my
Sorry.
God.
All right, the court will next consider,
Thanks,
and I
guys.
think it must be considered in mitigation, that you do have mental health issues. I've
Yeah.
dealt with those throughout the context of this case where there were commitment proceedings. I've reviewed those reports and have that personal information from having gone through the determinations of whether or not you were competent or fit to stand trial. The most current diagnosis the court has is from Dr. Watson from February of this year, states you suffer from, and I'll quote, delusional disorder, mixed type with bizarre content and hyper-religiosity, continuous and unspecified personality disorder with histrionic and narcissistic features. So obviously a very complex diagnosis that's been made here. Whether or not that can or how it would be treated, I think by all accounts is unknown at this time. I've reviewed your personal history, including statements from your own immediate family members, and it's clear something radically changed in you that led you to where you are today. In a statement made in the pre-sentence investigation report, your mother stated it perhaps best and said that you are not now, quote, the person she knew.
Wow, profound.
The record in this case, including all the evidence I observed during the jury trial, indicates that if it wasn't already occurring, that this relationship with the co-defendant seemed to be a catalyst for the change. At this point, I'll note that I will not be making comments on any other co-defendants in this case, as your co-defendant is currently presumed innocent and awaiting trial. In sum, there are significant mitigating factors the court has to consider here when I consider you and your life as a whole.
I
And
know,
that
I
does
don't
make
know
the
why,
case
Scotty
difficult.
Lassie. I don't know why.
Typically, when I see somebody to be sentenced and they don't have a prior criminal history, they're given opportunities to first prove themselves on probation or avoid a lengthy term of incarceration. However, of
Anyway.
course, some crimes are so serious that even with mitigation, there is no other reasonable option except for a prison term and a
Yeah,
long prison term.
long one.
And sadly, you've been convicted of and have committed the most serious crimes possible.
Mhm.
And those crimes also require an equally serious punishment. So this is the part where I will consider what I think are the factors in aggravation.
Oh, well, let's listen to this part.
I went through those factors in the statute that I look at, and as I'll
ATC.
explain, I find that 5 of those factors weigh against you and in favor of a lengthy period of imprisonment.
5 out of how many?
First, the case itself. I'll discuss that. There was a lot of pretrial litigation in the case.
I don't know. Do y'all want to hear this
You
part?
decided to take your case to a jury trial. I will state and emphasize that I firmly believe it's the right of every person in our country to exercise their right to a jury trial, and they're afforded the full due process of the law.
Yeah, they did, Gene.
It's been somewhat disheartening to me to realize that there are many people who think that they can predetermine a case and
Okay.
somebody shouldn't be afforded their full rights of due process before they are convicted of a crime. Well, I didn't make all of the rules that govern criminal cases, but I took an oath to uphold the rules that are there. And I make every effort to ensure that people's due process is protected, because that's an important duty of mine. Everyone has a right to be presumed innocent, and everyone in a criminal case does have a right to a jury trial. Sometimes I feel like maybe too many cases settle, and there should be more trials because it's a right people are entitled to exercise. You exercise that right, and I in no way hold it against you that you decided to have your case determined by a jury. That's your right, and it does not impact or influence my decision in sentencing. Before trial, I did not delve into all of the evidence or facts of this case and only address those when necessary to make rulings on motions, because I wanted to keep objective through the proceedings and remain impartial. You were afforded all of your due process in this case, and ultimately, after presentation of the evidence, a jury did find you guilty on all counts. I bring that up now because when there is a trial, I learn and see all of the facts along with the jurors. And that's a different scenario than when someone enters a plea and I'm only allowing argument in a sentencing and not sitting through the evidence as I did here. Having considered all of the evidence that I saw at trial along with the jurors, it's been a difficult task for me to narrow down and articulate all of the aggravating factors because really there are so many here. Murder is the most serious offense. And the most unimaginable type of murder is to have a mother murdering her own children, and that's exactly what you did. You were involved in and guilty of conspiring to murder another group of children's mother, Tammy Daybell, who had children of her own. And despite the jury convicting you with overwhelming evidence, you still sit here before the court today and said you didn't do it. You came here to East Idaho, where I've spent my life, and moved here from another place already with plans in progress to make your children disappear. The evidence bore that out at trial. You removed your children from their home in Arizona, alienated them from friends and family, got rid of JJ's service dog. You moved to Rexburg, a community where you could find 1,000 random families to take your children, and you brought them here to murder them. You had so many other options. You could have gotten divorced. You could have found someone to take care of those kids. But as the state was able to prove at trial, you chose the most evil and destructive path possible. You killed those children, according to the state's theory, and I believe it, to remove them as obstacles and to profit financially. You justified all of this by going down a bizarre religious rabbit hole, and clearly you are still down there. While you were enjoying your new life in Hawaii, countless law enforcement officers, family members, and volunteers were searching for your children. And I don't think to this day you have any remorse for the effort and heartache you caused for others who looked for your children when you knew where they were and knew they were dead. They were found dead, burned, mutilated, and dismembered, and buried like animals. After you knew they were dead, you collected public funded assistance payments meant for them, and that was blood money you kept for yourself. And that's the grand theft charge you've been convicted of. Your sister, your son talked to you, begged with you while you were in the jail during phone calls I heard at trial, and those were very sad and difficult calls to hear. And you didn't provide any assistance or comfort to them. During the trial, when the evidence came out about how these children were found and the state they were in, you wanted to be excused and not have to watch the evidence, and were fine to let all the other people in the courtroom, including the jurors, have to bear through that. However, I ruled that you did have to sit and watch and see the result of your heinous crimes. The jurors in your case fulfilled their duty admirably. All 18 jurors we had, because we had alternates, went through the entire trial and faithfully fulfilled all their obligations and all the instructions. So we were able to get impartial jurors who weren't already tainted by pretrial publicity to decide your case. And I do thank the jurors publicly for the service they rendered. Those jurors I noted during the trial were very good at keeping their emotions in check and keeping stone-faced, as they're supposed to do, and be objective until.
Hey, I just found it again. So hold on. I'm going to move over to that screen. It's on the Fox 10 Phoenix News website, I believe. Yeah, November 20th. Okay. And I kind of scrolled through it to make sure. And yeah. So I'm going to start it right around here, I guess. We'll see. Oh. What the hell,
When was it
man?
filed? Are you talking about the motion to reconsider your motion to withdraw Rule 11?
Yes, that we hand delivered last week, I guess it was.
Okay, I issued a ruling that said there was nothing to reconsider because I had neither granted nor
We weren't sure what's.
denied the motion to reconsider, or the motion to withdraw.
When we left court last time, the court indicated that it would like additional information to make a determination. That's what we provided to the court via those reports that the court asked for. You asked for those reports. We objected to going back to Rule 11, but it was determined at some point that there may be some outstanding reports. That's why we set this hearing. That's why we sent you the reports so you could review them before this hearing.
I don't know if I went back far enough. I think so. I remember that guy. Okay. I don't know. Let me go check it. It doesn't seem like it was, oh, it's an ad. Okay. Whatever. We ain't got time for all this, Justin. Damn.
Also in court, the man accused of killing.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, we're on a whole new video. Okay, hold on. Cheese and rice. I mean, why take it off? Why take it off of YouTube though? Okay. Like that's weird. That's
During this
weird.
year's
I
president.
don't know how to go back. Besides, let me refresh. I just want to make sure. Oh, maybe they took it off here too. I don't know. I'm refreshing. Let's go back. Let's go back. Now I'm pissed. Okay. I was right here. This is where I found it. Okay. Okay. Whatever. Okay, whatever. I gotta wait for this ad to play to see if we got to the end or if this is some more games we're playing today. It's been one of those kind of days anyways. So why not this?
All right, I set the status conference.
I mean, did he ever stop reading? That's what I want to know. I think we did get to the end. I don't want it to flip again. Yeah, I mean, he didn't do nothing. Oh my
Kurt's
gosh.
review.
Oh my God, come on. Or whatever.
All right, I set
We'll
the
just
status.
go there, we'll mute it, and we'll talk while it plays. All right. Oh, hello. Okay, I'm gonna get there. Right, right. Okay, so I'm just gonna let it, just kind of play. It'll give you some visuals, and yeah. But they cut it off at 30 minutes, but the hearing wasn't finished. I know he was still reading, Like I said, I made a comment, that I would feel so much pressure if everybody's eyes were on me and I was just, just breezing through some damn documents, taking my time. I feel like that here on this live stream, when I'm going to fetch something and it's not right away, it's like everything in my head's like, "Wah!" And it gets really crazy, But yeah, so okay, I'm not very good at recapping things because I'm still trying to make sense of it myself, right? But he did rule though. Uh, Oh, 24 minutes. Okay, we'll go back. Since we're here, might as well do it, right?
Case.
We'll just start
So
it
when
all
we
over.
started with you, I believe it was on November 6th, you had indicated that you were willing, at least inclined, to withdraw prior counsel's Rule 11 motion until Ms. Vallow indicated that she wanted to represent herself. We brought up the LeCount case. I went back through that case pretty thoroughly, and I'm just going to kind of walk through it. That case starts off with that Ms. Vallow has an absolute right to represent herself, and then it goes into what has to be established before she can represent herself. She has to show a sufficient mental capacity to understand the nature of the dispute, formulate a defense, and engage with court, counsel, all of the people in the cases. The court can look at, the court has to look at some evidence in order to make that finding of putting her in Rule 11 before allowing her to represent herself. But there has to be a history of irrational behavior, some medical opinion documenting incompetency, or something else, and the defendant's demeanor. So the court has to find reasonable grounds. And that doesn't include an uncooperative attitude. You have to have a reasonable doubt as to her competency before we can place her in Rule 11. And the last part of LeCount talks about potentially just doing a preliminary evaluation and maybe getting one report before moving into a full Rule 11 evaluation. So I'm going to walk through what we have in this case. Again, she has an absolute right to represent herself. She has the sufficient mental capacity to understand the nature of the dispute, formulate a defense. We've now had a couple of conversations. We believe that she's able to do that, so we are avowing to the court that she's able to do that. So far, there's been no history The state and your honors had this case for almost a year. You've had chances to see Ms. Vallow in court. To my understanding, there's been no history of irrational behavior. We now have a medical opinion from Dr. McGady who says that she's competent. There's been nothing else in her
Did that
demeanor.
doctor meet with her?
He spoke with her briefly. He didn't do a full evaluation, but he did speak with her. He did do a records review. I will point out his records review, his report, he kind of summarized what all of us have been saying was that maybe the Rule 11, and I don't want to get into why, to get into previous counsel's thoughts, but Your Honor told us last court that you weren't really sure that you should have put her in Rule 11. We then showed up and said, we don't think this should be here. Dr. McGady's report, he did a review of CHS records and basically said maybe this stemmed from a disagreement. So again, uncooperative behavior doesn't equal incompetency. Again, she hasn't displayed any irrational behavior. You have Dr. McGady's report. As far as waiting around for Dr. Hernandez to do a report, we have concerns about that. She's already wrote a letter to the court indicating she's watched movies about this prior to being appointed.
No, Satan
She's
is
going
against me. That
outside of
he is
my
opposing
understanding of
with the volume.
typical Rule
Okay.
11. If you have a client in Rule 11, they refuse to talk to the doctor. The defense attorney shows up at that initial 11 hearing, says, I've now gone and spoke to my client. They didn't really fully understand. Now they're going to cooperate with the doctor. Then the doctor goes back out a second time. We've spoke to lots of attorneys in our office. We've spoke with our attorney who's in Rule 11 regularly. It's very rare that a doctor attempts to go back out to speak with a client a second time. Normally, I would never advise a client to not speak in Rule 11. However, we are defense attorneys. That is Rule 101. Your client shouldn't talk. And in this particular circumstance, we are saying we don't think she needs to be in Rule 11. So I don't think waiting around for Dr. Hernandez is going to get us anywhere. And we certainly don't need it to meet all of the evidence that is required in the count. And I think I had one other. The last thing is we don't see this with the state. How often do we see the state trying to keep a client into Rule 11 proceedings? So we now have Your Honor who was concerned about the Rule 11 and didn't necessarily think it was appropriate. We have said that. Dr. McGady has now said that. Commissioner Motorosian, who was willing to stipulate to her competency. All of these people who are saying we believe she's competent, you should withdraw Rule 11, withdraw previous counsel's Rule 11, allow Ms. Vallow to be pro per. If at some point you or the state see something that is concerning, we can certainly put her in Rule 11 again. Competency is fluid. Again, we've never seen the state fight to keep someone in competency proceedings. It's usually the complete opposite. That's all I have.
Okay. Well, there's a big distinction from the LeCount case in this defendant's case because according to prior counsel's motion for Rule 11, she was previously found incompetent in another jurisdiction and put into some sort of restoration process.
And then found competent and tried.
Correct.
All we're saying is that where we're at right now, you asked us to come back and give you some evidence of competency. I think we have more than provided that at this point. And at this point, we're just delaying any speedy trial rights, any fundamental right to represent herself.
All right. Well, if she were allowed to represent herself prior to that, I'd have to go through a colloquy with her and get some information, and based on that information, could still refer her for a Rule 11, depending on her answers to those questions.
Sure, and that was supposed to be my last point. Was we haven't even done that colloquy with her, so let's do that and see where we end up.
All right. Well, ma'am, I am going to ask you a series of questions, and that could inform what happens next. Have you previously in any other criminal proceeding been referred for a competency determination?
Yes, previously.
All right. And were you ever previously determined to be incompetent at any point?
Not to my understanding. So my understanding was that the judge did the same thing that you did, in abundance of caution. Let's go ahead and put her in and see. And I came out competent.
Well, when you say you came out competent, was there a period of time where you were ruled as incompetent?
I would say technically they did do that. That's how they put you into the program in that state. Correct.
How long were you in that program?
I was in that program for about 10 months.
Okay. And what types of things did they give you classes? What types of things did they speak to you about where you went through some process where you were later deemed competent?
I did go through a process of several things, several classes, competency class, and meeting with doctors and evaluators, many evaluators.
Are you aware of any diagnosis that you were given?
Yes.
And what is that?
We're going to object to that, especially with this being public and not sealed.
It's not relevant to this determination.
Okay, well then,
This was almost 2 years
okay.
ago.
Then I'm going to keep her in the Rule 11 process to determine that. And
The approach and discuss with you without it being on the without public, on the record, but not public.
you mean as far as the diagnosis?
Yes.
Sure.
Or I don't know how.
All right. All that was on the record. The court reporter took it down despite the white noise.
But it was sealed for the public.
What
correct?
was that?
That part was sealed.
I
for the
haven't
public.
sealed anything yet, but I can. All right, I'm inclined to keep Ms. Vallow in the Rule 11 process based on the prior attorneys. I understand these attorneys today disagree with the prior attorney's assessment. But because of that conflicting viewpoint, I think I need to let the Rule 11 process play out. So do you want to, anything additional you want to put on the record regarding that?
There's a couple of, can I just have a moment to?
Sure.
I think last part is we haven't finished the colloquy, so we can just finish that, just so that's on the record, and then we
Well,
don't have anything to add after that.
Okay. I don't see why this would produce a significant delay. If your client comes back competent, I want to, last time you were here, you mentioned needing a lot of time to be ready. But I just want you to think about this, and maybe you want to brief it, is if she represents herself, I don't think she should be forced to waive time in order for advisory council to be ready. I think she can go to trial as soon as she's ready if she's representing herself. And I don't know if you disagree with that, and you don't have to address it today.
We don't have to brief her at all. We agree with the court's
Okay.
conclusion, and that's if she were going to proceed to trial under her speedy trial rights, that's the chance she takes going forward. We would always prepare ourselves the best as possible under the circumstances, but that shouldn't factor into the decision as to whether someone represents themselves.
I agree.
I think the court always bounds on that, if that's what the court's thinking. I'm not saying it is.
No, you had thrown it out last time that you would need a significant amount of time to be ready, even if she represented herself. And when I was reflecting on that, I was thinking that I didn't know the case. So I'm glad that we're on the same page on that.
Before the court goes forward with what I believe it's going to do, I would like the court to make a factual finding and a legal conclusion as to why the court feels it has the authority to do what it's doing and the facts that support that.
All right, I think I already have repeatedly.
I would ask the court to do that again, so we make it perfectly clear for the record.
All right. Her prior attorneys requested Rule 11 based on their observations. In their motion, they cite that she's, in their opinion, suffering from some form of delusions. Next, she's been previously, in their motion, found incompetent in another jurisdiction and went through a restoration process. By her own account here today, she was in that for approximately 10 months, which seems, I know it's a different jurisdiction and it's a different standard, and but it seems that anyone that's in that process for 10 months is a significant period of time before they're determined to be competent to stand trial. So based on those factors, I think there's definitely enough to continue with the Rule 11 process. All right.
So the state has one concern.
Go ahead.
Defense counsel has pointed out that they are not happy with the appointment of Dr. Hernandez. Dr. Hernandez did not go outside of the record to review anything. She indicated she had seen something on TV regarding the defendant, and it did not affect anything she was going to do in this case. However, if defense counsel is not comfortable with Dr. Hernandez being appointed, perhaps the court could appoint a different doctor. Most importantly, Judge, specifically due to the basis of the finding of incompetency in Idaho that we just found out today, I think it's incredibly important that the doctors actually speak to the defendant, because the records from the jail may not bring up the issues unless they're specifically discussed. So the doctors would, of course, inquire into those areas, knowing that that is of possible concern. So it is incredibly important that the defendant cooperate and speak to the doctors. Defense counsel did indicate that it's common to stipulate to one doctor. That is not the case. I have been doing this for 20 years. It's not what we do. We are protecting the record, Judge, so that we don't come back on appeal for ineffective assistance of counsel when they say it should have been evaluated and it wasn't.
Can I add one last point? And again, this is going to go on for a little bit longer. Even if she does go to trial in February, this case is going to go on for some time. Everybody in this courtroom is going to have an opportunity to see Ms. Vallow, to talk with her. And if there are any issues about protecting the record, it can also be done then. I understand this might be a little bit more convenient, but what we are saying is at this point, it's not necessary.
Okay. Are you requesting a different evaluator?
Yeah, we were going to, yes.
All right.
We were going to do that the Rule 11.
We thought the Rule 11 doctor had to do it, so we weren't going to bring it up.
Well, I think I can do it. What was the name of the one?
Dr. Camille Hernandez is the doctor, and we would request that Dr. McGady be ordered to visit the defendant again because of this unique circumstances. He did indicate in his report that his opinion was not as sure as it could be had he been able to interview the defendant. So the defendant, the state would request that Dr. McGady reevaluate the defendant with an interview and that this court order the defendant to cooperate to the best of her ability.
Do you want
Yeah,
to be heard?
We're clearly going down the rabbit hole at this point. We're getting far afield from what the court's concerns are, that she's able to represent herself. Now we're discussing all of the things that are relevant to Rule 11, which I'm indicating to the court aren't necessarily probative of what you need to understand in order to make a determination whether she can represent herself. If she doesn't want to talk to the doctor, she doesn't have to talk to the doctors. That's pretty straightforward and clear.
You're not requesting a specific doctor be appointed in
No,
place of
Judge.
Hernandez. You're talking about McGady. McGady was the one that found her competent.
Correct, but was not secure in his findings. So we would just request that. And then if you just notified the Forensic Services Unit, they will appoint another doctor that does in-custody evaluations, and she can be evaluated pretty quickly.
Okay.
Just one last thing, Judge, we never asked, did the court read the, basically, file a motion to reconsider, including the both reports? Did the court read those,
Read what?
the reports?
I haven't seen any reports. No.
File a motion to reconsider with the reports attached. I think the court probably should have reviewed those before we had.
You filed a motion to reconsider what?
You filed it under seal.
When was it filed? Are you talking about the motion to reconsider your motion to withdraw Rule 11?
Yes, that we hand delivered last week, I guess it was.
Okay, I issued a ruling that said there was nothing to reconsider because I had neither granted nor
We weren't sure what's.
denied the motion to reconsider, or the motion to withdraw.
When we left court last time, the court indicated that it would like additional information to make a determination. That's what we provided to the court via those reports that the court asked for. You asked for those reports. We objected to going back to Rule 11, but it was determined at some point that there may be some outstanding reports. That's why we set this hearing. That's why we sent you the reports so you could review them before this hearing.
Just go on to the end. So awkward. Y'all are troopers. Ah. Damn it, man. Okay. Shh. All right. Okay. All right. How many times have I seen this today already? Like 50, 11. 50, 11 times already. All in pieces, right? But we got it. We got it. I don't know why they took it off of YouTube. That's so weird. Your guess is as good as mine. If I was thinking, while that, I know, me too. It's not good for the PTSD stuff. But while that was playing, I thought about how I'm like, oh my God, what if it's something that like Justin Lum, Fox 10 Phoenix may get in trouble over? Maybe they aired something they weren't supposed to or something. And I'm like, oh God. So I'm like, well, Justin, he can text me or call me or whatever if I need to take it down. So anyways, I don't ever want to be the source or the reason for any kind of technicality for Lori or anybody else to get off on any of this crap. Anyways, that has always tripped me out. I'm like, if anybody ever had information, I would just kind of poke around to what kind of information, where they get it from, because I didn't want nothing landing on my lap that I would have to. I want it the right way, or don't. I'll just find out when whenever I'm supposed to. Anyway, so someone said that place she is in is much worse than Idaho. That's what I've heard too. Well, she really hated Kauai. Computer started making a noise. So yeah, I mean, I know that she hated Kauai because of, and that was quiet. Now I've heard that this is it's like finally Lori is where I imagine prison to be. Like, if that makes any sense. Like Idaho, I feel like she just keeps getting the red carpet, treatment. And I don't think that's right. Like I've felt that the whole time. But it's like whenever she was transported to Arizona, I was like, yes. I don't know. And so listening to that recorded phone call with Colby and Lori and her talking and trying to just beef herself up, right? Because she is so special, don't you know? She is so special and she is still elevated and she is above everybody else. Her children, even, her crimes, so to speak. It makes me wonder, okay, just because we know like Lori's MO, okay, we know that she likes to character assassinate. We know she likes to throw she threw Joe under the bus, said all kinds of things, right, about diddling her children and yada, yada, yada. I mean, went so far as to, it looks like she had them lie. Okay. Now I will never discredit what Colby says. I'm just saying, I don't have I will always believe what a victim says. Okay. I mean, this has happened to me as well, and I believe me. So I'm just saying, I believe victims when they say what they say. I don't think they do it because it makes them look good. Because I mean, trust me, it doesn't. Usually the victim gets blamed for everything. So I'm not in that camp. That's where I stand. So I believe Colby and I believe Joe, if that makes any sense. Joe's not here to speak in his behalf, and I'm not here to tell Colby he experienced what he did or did not. Not my place, not my place. So I do believe something happened. I just, that's I'll never do that. That's so horrible. Ugh, just thinking about it and talking about it just makes me ugh. But it makes me wonder because this is, there's never been any accusations about my Uncle Charles or anything. And I'm saying this as his niece, right? And I'm like, what if she like cooks something up, and it's just, how she is, how she character assassinates and she's going to try and justify what she did. So to me, I'm just like, that's always been like a lingering thing. Like if she did it to Joe, and I mean, the way she was with, what's his name? William LaGoya or LaJoya, LaGoya, I think. Colby's dad, I mean, it's like that relationship, her second relation, she was married once to, oh my God, I used to know all this stuff. Like, anyways, Nelson, okay. Then she married William. Then she married Joe. Then she married Charles. Then she married, we can just go on and on. But it just makes me think and wonder. And I swear to God, y'all will never see a Louisiana girl get so pissed off if that is what she crops up. I don't put anything past her because of her history, right? It's the best indicator for future behavior, in my opinion. So, especially that one, I'm just saying that has never come up in my family, in my circle, anything that I've ever heard. Nothing like that has ever been mentioned. So I'm just stating it here on the record before I'm trying to get in front of it because it just makes me wonder what all she is going to do to demonize even more Charles, especially, and Brandon. Okay, because this is how she rolls. So that's just my 2 cents on that for what it's worth, right? Women's prisons are a lot like college dorms, lots of drama and soap operas going on. And so she is right where she needs to be, right? She loves the drama. Okay. She is the drama mama for sure. Hey, Trace, how are you? And I don't want to forget Donna. I hope your mom is doing better. Please keep us, up, keep us updated. And we love you, and love always wins. For real. I hope you feel better. And I hope you're being okay to yourself, Donna. I mean it. I mean it. Don't make me go over there to Mississippi. Or do. I'll go. Giannis. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Manipulator is the only way she knows. Yeah. Yes. If I remember correctly, it was DX as having a cluster B. Oh, diagnosis. I get cluster B personality disorder was delusional thought patterning centered around religiosity. Yeah. I believe that's what he said. Y'all know, I can't remember what I did 2 seconds ago. So I have a long-term memory, but my short-term memory, it never was very good. That's why I could never be a waitress or, well, I mean, I was, but it was just for cocktail drinks at a casino. So, and so I found this article and I'm just going to read it to you guys. I'm not going to throw it up on the screen. But and this was way back August 3rd, 2023. So just kind of like a recap, right? And it says, what's next? It's NPR article. And it says, what's next for Lori Vallow Daybell? More murder charges in Arizona. And so August 3rd, 2023. So this is way back. Okay. And it says an Idaho judge sentenced Lori Vallow Daybell because it kind of rehashes. So that's the only reason. Sentenced Lori Vallow Daybell to spend the rest of her life in prison for red rumming 2 of her children. But she also faces 2 pending. Well, they didn't put Tammy in there. Okay. Anyways, but she also faces 2 pending criminal cases. Prosecutors are working to extradite her to Arizona, where she has also been indicted on conspiracy red rum charges related to her late husband's killing. Vallow Daybell, 50, was sentenced to multiple life terms. She likes the multiples, y'all. Multiple probations, multiple lives behind bars, in prison with no possibility of parole after being found guilty of red rumming her 2 youngest children and conspiring to red rum a romantic rival. I've never heard anybody put it that way. Interesting. Anyways, it says authorities said the killings were part of an elaborate plan to start a new life with her 5th husband, Chins Daybell. Kidding. A scheme that included killing Daybell's previous wife. I would say it was his late wife, because there was no separation, okay, except for red rumming. And I hate that about like Lori. They were estranged, kind of, but like that. She was still married to Charles. Even Judge Boyce said it earlier when I played that. He was like, you could have done so many other things like divorce, finding other places for your children to live, things like that, so they weren't divorced. So they're both their late spouses, in my opinion. Anyways, now that now that Vallow Daybell has received a sentence, prosecutors in Arizona want to bring her to their state. Why? Just kidding. They want her to face red rum conspiracy charges in her previous husband's death, as well as in an attempt on another relative's life. Brandon. The Arizona cases are the next twist in a convoluted crime saga. Oh my gosh. Okay. In which Vallow Daybell is said to have been motivated by beliefs about doomsday scenarios and zombies. Lori didn't do zombies though, remember? Bullshit. And also by a desire to collect insurance payouts and benefit payments. That's where I think that they were trafficked, in my opinion. Like, is it trafficking or is it fraud? Or both? Like, how does that? Because I'd asked Megan the other day if she thought it was trafficking, and rafficking. This is the worst content to have on YouTube with all their little censorship. Okay. And I stay shadow banned. But yeah, so I'd asked Megan if she thought that the kids were trafficked, and she was like, no. And I was, I'm like always thinking that they were because of the monetary, I don't know what to call that. Monetary, I know which word I'm looking for, but anyways, for monetary reasons. And so labor trafficking, I don't know. Anyways, so. And also by a desire to, okay, I already said that. Here's where things stand now. And so this was as of August of 2023. So just know that. Vallow Daybell is under 2 indictments in Arizona. In Arizona, Maricopa County prosecutors accuse Vallow Daybell of conspiring with her brother, Alex Cox, to murder. Oh, it is murder, okay? It's murder in the court. And so it should be murder here, okay, on YouTube. Can y'all get with the court system of the United States federal system and get all the keywords together so we can say just the proper terms of them? This is bullshit, man. Ugh. It's bullshit. Anyways, I guess I need to talk about freaking unicorns and rainbows, okay? And then I'll, anyways, sorry. It's aggravating though, because this is what happened to my family. And so it's like, okay, what's the point here? Why are we trying to dilute the meanings of words? Okay, by not saying them. If a kid was abused, then say abuse. If a kid was diddled, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, just saying, if y'all want to know how I feel. Okay, and then it says, to red rum her 4th husband, Charles Vallow, so she could marry Daybell and obtain a payout from a $1 million life insurance policy. Charles Vallow died on July 11, 2019. On that day, Cox called 911 and, quote, reported that he had shot and killed his brother-in-law, unquote. The Maricopa County Prosecutor's Office said. Cox claimed he had acted in self-defense after an argument. Months earlier, Vallow had told police that his wife had threatened to kill him, describing her as increasingly unbalanced. Quote, I can murder you now. I said it again, damn it. I can red rum you now with my powers, unquote, she said, according to Vallow. Vallow Daybell is also accused of conspiring with Cox in an attempt on the life of her niece's ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux, who was shot at in the fall of 2019 but survived. Thank God. At the time, the couple was going through a contentious divorce. Barely. I mean, barely, okay? They are the source for contention, in my opinion. Based on the attack on Boudreaux, police in Gilbert, Arizona recommended felony charges of attempted first-degree red rum against Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell in 2021. They recommended it. Okay, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office started the extradition process for Vallow Daybell after her sentence in Idaho was handed down, the office told NPR on Wednesday. And so it says, quote, once the paperwork for the governor's requisition has been filed with the governor of Arizona, the process typically takes 90 to 120 days for extradition, unquote, the prosecutor's office said in an email. Vallow Daybell's beliefs factored into her crimes. SRA, all the way. Vallow Daybell's beliefs factored into her crimes. Vallow Daybell is currently residing at the Pocatello Women's Correctional Center. We know this is August 2023 now, so don't freak out. This is an old article. She was found guilty of first-degree red rum and conspiracy charges in May, as a jury agreed with prosecutors who said she wanted to eliminate her youngest children as part of a plan to embark on a new life. Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell were found to have invoked arcane religious theories, including the idea that they were exalted figures called, quote, James and Elena, unquote. No, that's just their secret society issued names, okay? Period. With a long spiritual history in what prosecutors described as an elaborate scheme to justify their actions. Well, how'd that work? The pair also claimed Vallow Daybell's children were becoming quote-unquote zombies, according to court documents. In Idaho, jurors heard an audio recording, God bless them, right, found on Vallow Daybell's iCloud account of Daybell conferring a quote-unquote patriarchal blessing, which we need to go over again, upon Alex Cox. Although Daybell did not have the appropriate status to do that in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Yes, he did. I will fight this tooth and nail. I swear to God, I've done enough research in this area. Okay. He was serving a damn calling. Okay. They don't even let people, I don't think. Now let me look and see y'all's comments first before I go quoting. I don't think, and so please correct me for anybody who knows any different or any better. Honestly. If someone is serving a calling in the church, like a ward clerk, don't they have to have all the patriarchal, oh my God, what do they call it? Crap. Priesthoods. Okay. There. So if anybody knows, let me know. I'm looking at your comments, waiting. Yeah, I've felt that way too, TC. Yeah, she's on a mission. The mission is to stay in prison for a long, long time. Oh, wouldn't that be something, NF Mom, if she would have to call, or if she would call Chad to the stand? I'm waiting for Chad to throw her under the bus. What, again? He already did it once. He's so girly. His hands, y'all. I can't with his hands. I'm not perfect, but nope, one patriarch per state. Okay. Thank you, Donnell. Well, okay, hold on. So if he was doing patriarchal blessings, I mean, they give them out everywhere. Every damn street corner, there's a patriarchal blessing. So it can only be a ward patriarch to give those? I mean, I don't know. So It's not, but the thing is the Church of the Firstborn, and I can show you so many examples of it. I just don't know how to present it to you because I'm not Mormon. Never was Mormon, but I've done so much research and I have all the screenshots to boot to just show exactly what it is saying. The Church of the Firstborn is only an idea. It is just, it's non-existent. So just know that. And all the other people that, in my opinion, this is my belief. I believe that like Ervil LeBaron, I believe that the Lafferty brothers, all the people that went cuckoo, Jeffrey Lundgren, it's the secret society. It is this, and I mean, to get into a temple already, okay, you have to have a temple recommend, or the doors are closed. Okay, so that is already a secret society. Okay, it depends on how you look at it. So Jason is the one who brought that. He was like, "Well, it's pretty secret if not everybody can get in, right?" And a lot of the things that go on there, not even the general membership of the church knows what's going on. And so I'm of the belief that that is pretty much, you are doubling down, showing the leaders that you are doubling down, that you can be trustworthy, that you're in, you're devout. And that's the ones that go astray. It just seems to be this pattern. Okay. Oh, so I don't think it's really God talking to them. I think it's just upper leaders, people in their circle and above them. Okay, that are duping people. And I'm not saying that Chad and Lori got duped, but kinda. It's kind of like a fall guy situation, you know? And I mean, just watching the church's reactions as well, not saying anything about the kids missing, not putting on their huge ass platform that the kids are missing. Let's help them find them. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing was ever said. And my Uncle Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Tylee were all devout, tithing members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Why have they not said anything? Why did the church, in my opinion, use Kurt McConkie to insert itself into the case? Mhm. There's so many things, and I cannot wait to go back on this and just comb through it because I've said this forever. I need to just do it. But, okay, hold on. Hold on. Let's see. That's a horrible picture. So it is first degree. Okay. Red Rum, first degree red rum. Trace on the case just sent me the screenshot. Okay, so they did change it, huh? From conspiracy to first degree. Wonder why. Does that mean that they have evidence to tie her directly to, right? I gotta look at y'all's comments because I'm like, what? I would upload this and show everybody, but you'd have to take my picture off, Kate, Trace, because it just says master calendar KCR 2021 001 704 Lori Vallow, crime date 7/11, so it's for Charles, and it says description red rum first degree, ARS code 13-1105A, like A is an apple, F1. So that means it's a felony 1. Yeah. Yes, that's the code word. That's the code phrase. It's one of the code phrases, y'all. It is so obvious now. Now that I know what I'm looking for, I'm just like, oh, well, there it is. There it is. Here it is too. It's crazy. It's crazy. It really is. Thank you, Trace. I don't know. That's a really good question, Sarah. She asked, if they changed it to first degree, does this mean she will get death penalty? Wouldn't they have to bring that up now, though? Like they did. Lori was indicted, and then they brought in that they were pursuing the DP. Remember? Now that's in Idaho. I have no idea about, I don't even know when the damn hearings are in Arizona. So, And I mean, well, it depends on if, okay, I'm answering this one. I'm sorry. it, the TC says the only conspiracy would be between her and Chad, right? But in Idaho, they did it with Chad, Alex, Lori, and those named and unnamed co-conspirators that we still have not named. Okay. That pisses me off. It really does. Thank you, Trace. I don't know what my kids are doing right there with the water. I'm right, their bathroom's right there. So I'm like, what y'all doing? I've been in here since I got home. Yeah, Chad was following Tom Harrison's rules, not regular LDS rules. Then Tom, I mean, he's up there rubbing elbows with the people, with the leaders. So it's just sketchy as all get out. So it's like the shh. It's the secret society rules, in my opinion. Susan, I believe that's just me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm not being ugly, not being mean to you. I'm just saying I get mad at them. What is her IQ or education level? She graduated high school she graduated. But like, I wonder, because she was going to seminary school, in her latter years, so of high school or whatever. And how come she never went to BYU, but then she tried to project all that onto Tylee? Well, the story, she does whatever the hell she wants. Let me upload this real quick. Sorry. Oh, I got to take it off Wi-Fi. My phone doesn't. My Wi-Fi for my phone's in there. Let's see. Right here. Jodi Arias didn't find out if she would get DP until her guilt was established. Whoa. And so she probably pled not guilty too, huh? Oh my God. Remember her? I've just seen, tidbits of it. I didn't watch it back in the day or anything, but holy crap. That woman she is a freaking mess. A mess. Yeah, from a damn device. It's like Canva updated and it's asking me weird questions. I hate when things update and I don't like them. Okay, I got it uploaded. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Allegedly. Device. God dang it. It's just one of those days, y'all. I just took a screenshot of it, damn it. Okay, now let me try this again. Allegedly. Okay. Haptic frequency says, I just have a weird premonition that there is going to be discovery unknown to us yet that will open up doors for other arrests. I just have a feeling. Oh man, I really dream about your feeling. I really hope that that's right. It just, because there's so many questions I still have. So many questions, if not more. It's like I have more questions, kind of, Okay, finally got it uploaded. Thank you, Trace, again. I hope you're right. I really do. Yeah, that too. She went to hairdressing school and didn't learn that either. Y'all, I remember a long time ago, she did my hair once, when they came in to town. And so I went to my mom's house and that's where they were. And I mean, that's when she was just a love bomb. Like, she just was so engaged. Like, it's like I felt like I was the only person that existed on the planet. Okay. That's how engaged she was. And I mean, I just wasn't around her enough to observe anything. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't around her enough for her to act like an ass or whatever. I never had to try and figure her out. But so she showed me what she wanted to show me. But yeah, she was like, you're a chocolate brown N6. And I was like, okay. neutral 6 hair color tone. So I found I got a box color again. Okay. And so I have it to do next. So we'll see if I'm a chocolate N6. It's been a long time. Right. No, she did do good hair. I give her that. I give her that, but that's about it. Okay. And that must have been, the demons working through her or something. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. Yeah, she knows how to work it, period. End of story. Right, Trace? Yeah. Okay, let me go grab it real quick. Okay. Okay, let me take this off. Okay. So yeah, I mean, she just sent this to me where it says state of Arizona, 1, party name, and it says relationship plaintiff. Oh, okay. Trina K is the attorney for the plaintiff. Okay. Party name Lori Vallow, and it says party name 2. What the hell? Why is there a number 2? Is that just one number 1, number 2? Are there 2 people in the party? Okay, because that makes a difference. Is it Alex? Is it Chad? Is it Moroni? I mean, I'm joking. Is it Korhor? Okay, relationship defendant. Sex F. She gets an F. Attorney is Pamela Hicks. Judge Master Calendar, CR 2021-001704-001. This case number, and it says party name Lori Vallow, crime date 7/11/2019, description red rum first degree, right there. ARS code 13-1105AF1. So thank you again, Trace. There's that if you want to take a screenshot of it or anything. But oh, my thing said that I lost audio, and I was like, I didn't have audio. What? It's one of those days, y'all. Is it Mercury retrograde? One wants to know. Okay. One wants to know that. This is the article I was reading earlier. Said I wasn't going to show it to you, but here I am. And I feel like this is getting long. So, anyway, so it says in the recording, Daybell said he had the authority to do so under the Church of the Firstborn. And again, I'll prove it. I'll show all my points for this one day. Just we'll move along. I derailed us. The recording was dated November 2019. Cox died a month later. A medical examiner concluded that he died of natural causes. Okay. In November of 2019, Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell held a wedding in Hawaii. Prosecutors in Idaho noted that the ceremony took place days after Tammy Daybell died, weeks after Vallow Daybell's children, Tylee Ryan and Joshua Jackson JJ Vallow died, and months after Charles Vallow died. Parts of the Arizona cases potentially got a preview in Idaho. Before he died, Charles Vallow altered his insurance policy to make his sister, not his wife, the beneficiary of his insurance policy, a change that evidently took his wife by surprise after his death. It makes me wonder, like, I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, does Lori think my mom is a zombie and evil because the life insurance policy changed? And even though my mom didn't change it, like, I'm just like, what made her like horrible? I don't know. Besides getting the whole damn world, on her trail. Anyways. All right. So during the murder trial, I said it again. During the Red Rum trial in Idaho, Detective Nathan Duncan of the Chandler Police Department in Arizona read aloud a text message that Vallow Daybell sent to Daybell on July 18th, 2019, 1 week after Cox killed Charles Vallow in Arizona. When I was going through the FOIA doc, y'all, we need to hash this out because I just need to face it. It's hard though. It's like ever since the trial, ever since the case was adjudicated in Arizona, in Idaho, too much shit to have to remember. it's like that went away, so to speak. And then I was like, oh crap. It's like once we had to start facing Arizona, I found out how much it's like so much harder on me with it being my Uncle Charles for some reason. I don't know why. It's not that I don't love anybody more or less. It's just, it's like I've not wanted to deal with that, like it's so crazy. But I mean, I have more memories with him, it's things like that. But so I've kind of been avoiding it like the plague. I, it's time, you know, not just for sharing it or anything, but also it's going to help me hopefully get through it. I don't think there's a live tonight. I don't have one scheduled. No. Okay. But yeah, so okay, I gotta move this vibrating and moving and dinging and all kinds of stuff. This sentence right here reminded me of something I'd found in the FOIA docs. And it was Daybell sent, okay. Arizona read aloud a text message that Vallow Daybell sent to Daybell on July 18, 2019, 1 week after Cox killed Charles Vallow in Arizona. Okay, now in the FOIA docs, I found a little part. Okay, it was so little. It was like in the OCR pages or whatever. So it was like photo scanned in, right? So it's not like it comes up in text or anything. And it was this part about how somehow Chad Daybell, and I mean, allegedly, okay, don't hold me. I mean, maybe I need to reread it for interpretation purposes, because it was so small. But I was like, whoa, this is freaking huge. And it was towards the end of the docs. There's 1,108 pages. Okay. And so it was like basically what the police investigators sent to the Maricopa County recommending charges. Okay. And this little tidbit was interesting. It was something about Chad having one of a device or a device or so. I don't know how many or what, or if any at all, just allegedly. And it was a device of Lori's and Charles's. And they interacted with one another on the day that that Charles was red rummed. And I mean, so again, and I'm not even saying it well, because I really suck at, quoting things or remembering those because it's just so much, and it's been a long time since I've revisited that. And I was just like, whoa. I mean, if it's true, because there's the whole iCloud thing, and I don't know. Again, I need to read it more in context. We need to have a live about it and go over that together so we can figure it out and put it to rest or not. I don't know, but that would be interesting. And I mean, they did recommend charges for Chad, but the Maricopa County DA turned it down, saying that there wouldn't be a likely conviction, something along those lines. Don't quote me. I'm just here. So, it's just technicalities, in my opinion, like if you really think about it. And I don't like Tim Ballard boasting about all the technicality things that he wins, and it's just wins, and he's winning, and they're lying, and he's not. And I'm just like, what a clown, sit down, clown, because they're just technicalities. Okay, boo. That gives a demon just enough room to wiggle. Anyway, so this goes on to say, quote, I just got a letter from the insurance company that I am not the beneficiary. It's a spear through my heart. That spear word is something, that's another one of the keywords, unquote. Whoa. Duncan said as he read the message from Vallow Daybell, according to East Idaho News. Also testifying in Idaho was Boudreaux, who spoke about the day he was nearly killed. As Boudreaux started to pull into his driveway, he said, he saw a gun with what looked to be a quote-unquote silencer on it emerge from the rear window of a Jeep Wrangler parked close by. He heard a sound and his driver's side window shattered. Boudreaux sped off and dialed and called 911. He later came to believe the Jeep was the same one that Charles Vallow had purchased before his death, he said. The trial also included Cox's widow, Zulema Pastinez, who testified that she asked her husband of 2 weeks, can we put that in there and stop making her as credible as that? Just because she's married doesn't mean she wasn't married 5 times before this, okay? And only 2 weeks to this one, who carried her last name, right? Alex Pastinez, who testified that she asked her husband whether he had anything to do with Tammy Daybell's death or whether he knew where Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell were, as East Idaho, reported. Quote, I think I'm being their fall guy, unquote, Cox reportedly said, but he refused to elaborate. He died the next day. Pastinez's version of events could loom large in Arizona. In the Idaho trial, large portions of her personal journal were accepted as evidence. This isn't Vallow Daybell's first extradition process, right? This is her second rodeo. When Idaho authorities initially filed charges against Vallow Daybell in early 2020, she was living in Hawaii, where she and Chad Daybell had wed. What? She wasn't living there, y'all. It's called fleeing. Okay, it's called swinging pillow to post. It's called running and ducking and hiding and dodging being served with divorce papers from her then alive husband. Okay, I hate this. I mean, she wasn't moving. She was just moving around, I guess you could say. Anyways, those early charges included felony counts of child abandonment, as Vallow Daybell couldn't account for the whereabouts of her children. In that instance, Vallow Daybell waived an extradition hearing, clearing the way for her return and eventual red rum trial in Idaho. The massive search for the missing children ended in June of 2020 when their bodies were found in horrendous condition, buried on property in Rexburg, Idaho, that was owned by Chad Daybell. Chad Daybell still faces murder charges. I just said it again. In the 3 deaths in Idaho, his trial is slated to start in April of 2024. I don't like this article, but kind of helped give us a rundown. Let me copy that link and I'll put it in the chat. You can check it out if you want to. So, I don't know. Hey, Beach Bum, you're not over there in a Ticket. I think that's his name, Tickets. I saw Beach Bum, her little icon fly the other day. I was watching this guy who covers like the Diddy stuff. And I was like, oh, I'll be damned. I never got in chat before on any of those kind of channels, except for like Sean Atwood and BJ Investigates, Anyways, but so I saw her and I was like, oh, damn, look at her. And she was just a pecker. I was like, my girl. So, hey, it's so good to see you. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Technicality. Yeah. 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 Totally. I hope the hell they do. But I will not get my hopes up. I learned that with the last trial that when they say named and unnamed co-conspirators, and my hopes were like, phew, okay, they went way up. And I mean, who's wouldn't, like, okay, good, because it feels like that's some justice. Okay. But no, not even a, obstruction of justice, nothing. I mean, it doesn't have to be the top of the top, charges, but something, please. But again, I had my expectations way too high. And so I've had to learn to just lower them a great deal. And if it's anything above the very minimum, then okay, once it's said and done, but not until then. I don't know, Sonia. I don't know. Right? Right. I've asked this so many times. So many of us have asked the same question. Who does that? While your wife is still living. Okay? Mm-mm. Yes, they are. They are great. They are. They're necessary in my world. I swear. In my world, I need those breaks. Yeah, I just went back to, hold on, let me show you. And there's that video on YouTube, unavailable. Today's court hearing that we were watching, and it just went unavailable. Okay. So then we had to chase it down once I found it again. And it was playing on the Fox 10 Phoenix News website. So just know that. So, okay. We went through difficult research together today. But anyways, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day. I've got to do some videos. I've been working on. There was this 84 page. Let me see. Do I have it pulled up? If I do, I'll show you. Let me close some tabs here. Come on. Come on, Cletus. Okay, Pressure K. It has to do with Julie Rowe. I know, right? Don't we just miss her? No, me neither. Is it quiet without her? Great deal. It is. Here it is. I don't know why my lips do this every time, y'all. Sorry. It gets on my nerves and I keep trying. So what this is, and so it's 69 pages, okay? And somebody had a concerned Latter-day Saint member, okay, had written this entire 68-page PDF about Julie Rowe and Greater Tomorrow, the time, just her influence, okay? And I'm like, oh my God. And it doesn't have a date on it as to when this is, but it details. They detail like her AVAL presence, how many posts she made, what they were about, how she reacted, yada, yada. So much tea in here. It's unreal. So I've already gotten 2 videos made. I've got a little half. I got half of one I need to finish editing, but I already have the other one already edited. And but I was just going to kind of get a couple ahead. That way I could release them. Because it is so, again, this is just a background story, that, I mean, I do believe, now it is from a Latter-day Saint perspective. So there is a lot of this, like the people being of one language gathered together to build a tower to reach, as they suppose, crystallized heavens. Oh, yeah. City of Enoch. Okay. It's all the things that we've heard. Mills Crenshaw, this person details, about Christopher Parrott or Perrett, however you want to say that. It's just very, very, very interesting. Now I've always had it. I've had it since 2020. Never could find it because I've got different devices and I was never computer savvy at all. I just was saving things, scraping the damn internet, okay, as I was going. And because they were scrubbing things so quickly, I don't know. It just like, it caused me to, like, I reacted in a way that was like, okay, yeah, well, I'm gonna get every damn thing, like, and so I did. I would screen record things. I still do, not to that degree, but I would. But I mean, so yeah, I couldn't find it. I had printed it out, so I had the printed pages of it, but I didn't have it. This is so much easier just to find it and throw it into a damn document, right? So I finally found it, and so yeah. So it's like to provide some background on myself and the situation with Julie Rowe. Here's a summary. Many years ago in 2009, I joined the online community LDSAVAL.com often referred to as AVAL, which is a forum for discussing topics related to the last days, world events, preparedness, and gospel teachings. I had been aware of AVAL since 2006 through family members and had occasionally used their accounts to engage in discussions. And here it is. On August 14, 2012, Julie Rowe created a new account on LDS AVAL under the username Fellow Dreamer. She continued to lurk for over a year and only began to post actively in late 2013 to early 2014. This was when I first became aware of her, though I only knew her as Fellow Dreamer. She began discussing a near-death experience. she experienced in 2004 in her second or third post. Her contributions Her contributions often included topics on energy healing, which sparked a good deal of controversy on AVAL, as well as discussions about call-outs in tent cities. In May 2014, she published her first book, A Greater Tomorrow, using AVAL to help promote it and gain visibility. As her book gained traction, many people began discussing it, contributing to its rising popularity. And so they bring up visions of glory and things like that. So I've only gotten, I've got the 2 videos made. And so that's what I'm working on now. And so I'm going to go so I can just, do some of that. And it's at least newer. Not going to say it's stuff that we don't already know. Thank you, Fish Face. I'm so happy to see you too. And thank you so much for the super chat. It helps so much. It really does. Yes, Trace. She's teaching ribbon dancing in the day room. Oh, Lord. On the psych unit. Girl, you're making me laugh. I hope everybody just laughed over that because it deserves it. Okay. Anyways, oh my God, that song going through my head right now. It's Does That Make Me Crazy? Right. Anyways, and I have a whole theory on how this works because people in and out of the church, like Julie Rowe, and that just happened as the case with Lori and Chad were transpiring. So the thing that just baffles me is the Tom Harrison connection, the Visions of Glory, Tom Harrison connections. There's allegations that Chad and Julie would go to Tom Harrison's office in Salt Lake City, Utah. He was a therapist there, a very well-known therapist. Okay. And he also has rubbed elbows with the brethren. Okay. There's that angle too. He's in the Hamblin case, which is an SRA case from the 90s and on. Probably before that, just that's when it came about. And it's been dubbed as satanic panic, which is just a label, just like a conspiracy theorist is just a label, or crazy. They call people crazy whenever they are trying to get help or get attention to the generational abuse that's going on, that there's so much controversy on it. You have got to go and read the documents. If you really want to get a better understanding and not just take people's word for it, then go to the Glenn Pace memo, Bishop Pace memo. Google it in, you'll find it. I also have the entire Hamblin case, and it tells you about the Church of Satan. Before the Church of Satan people come after me, hold on. It's the LDS Church of Satan, okay? And they go by the group or CS members. That has Gordon. There's like 144 alleged elites that are named in these documents from these 3 sisters. Horrible experiences. And it's so crazy, but it's right on par with Lori and Chad. It's right on par with Tim Ballard. And I think he's one of the family members, actually, through the Anderson name. Nephi Anderson was his great grandfather. Okay. Elder Ballard, he's related to some Andersons. Roselle Anderson Stevenson. Well, I'm sorry. Roselle Anderson Hamblin Stevenson now. She's in jail right now. Oh, wait. And I mean, there's ways where they just dick around so much and so long, and everybody throws monkey wrenches in it because, oh, God forbid it come to light. Okay. God forbid, because people will get their butts hurt. People will be arrested. People will be jailed, and everybody's little, bubbles will be burst. And because they're like, oh my God, he was such a good person. And you know what I mean? Like, just like with Diddy, we're seeing people like, oh no, not Denzel Washington. And I'm like, I don't put nothing past nobody. Okay. They all nasty is what I look at. Okay. There's just a certain, I am here for Tylee and JJ. That's who I'm here for. And I want to be their voice because I didn't know anything about it beforehand. And not many people know about it now. As far as really what's really going on, and it's not just Chad and Lori going to make a start a cult. Okay, because that's a bullshit story that has been put out and does damage daily, to this case. And that is not at all what's been going on. Why do you think Nadine wanted to interview me? Okay, this is why, because I know better. And there's people who own East Idaho News that are very elitist, kind of type material persons. Anyways, so what they do is they control the medium. Like that person controls the media. And that way they can put a handle on what gets out, what the official story was. And everybody went to East Idaho News for the quote unquote official story. And they put it out there. However, that is not it, in my opinion. I will go to bat every time, I'm just not very good at this, because it's so hard to talk about, just because it's so crazy. It's nonsensical. It's very just bizarre, but it's the crazy didn't stop with just Chad and Lori. Okay. It's all around them. Okay. There's people with the same beliefs. Okay. Because there's a wider network of people that were never addressed back in the 80s, the 90s, and before, even since the beginning of time. Okay. They're just really these good web weavers, that's all they do. That's all they do. Storytelling. That's what they do. They tell stories. I swear. And so that's been very interesting too, because that's where I've found all my answers. I've found every answer. I don't have to do all the mental gymnastics this takes. Oh, they just wanted to start a church. What? Okay. Think about this. Really think about this, please. Please. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Please think about, why would Chad, according to David Warwick, why would he go show David Warwick a piece of property with nothing on it? And then it would behoove David Warwick to, make that trail cold, because all the trails lead up to all of them and the people that are involved in this. Okay. So they have to just throw it, that's that. I mean, they have different titles and roles that these people play. There's the conspirator, there's the punisher, there's the Peter Familius, there's the peacemaker. There's all these different roles within this LDS Church of Satan. Okay. And it is so intentional and methodical, and just the level of ABUSE is so intense that I have a hard time reading it and comprehending it, much less how do the victims feel, you know what I mean? And then not being believed, or being called crazy, or never getting to see their abuse be presented at trial, because they never can get their, the accused, they can never get the accused to actual court. Okay. It's just technicalities. That's all it is. And so there's too many people, there's too many victims that are named, unnamed. There's a lot that are unnamed, y'all. We don't even know their names. And it bothers me. It hurts my heart. Like, it really does hurt my heart. And I mean, I just feel like they're screaming, from their graves, from whether they're proper. I doubt they're proper, because there's just really some shitty people out here. Okay. We need to get the F over ourselves. Stop elevating and putting people and, belief systems and churches and buildings and men and women. Just all the things. We got to stop putting those people and those things ahead of our children. These victims, they're so vulnerable. And I mean, it took two of mine being red rummed in order for me to be like, what's going on? What? No, this is crazy. Welcome to crazy. And so there's going to continuously be more and more of these. This is not the end. Okay. Abby and Libby, in my opinion, those are ritual crimes. And it's very obvious, in my opinion, the cover up. I'm just like, whoa. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of these cases, in my opinion, unprofessional, total right here, but from an aunt, okay, of one of the victims, I'm saying that these cases aren't prosecuted properly. And like if we could just combine church and state like they do, in my opinion, that's how they roll, but not you. You can't do that. Okay. You just have to assume that it's, a separation of the two. Well, anyways, but if they could try the case, in my opinion, like as it appears, like with Lori and Chad, whenever I remember this because I was like, oh, yes. Whenever Rob Wood said that it was because of religious beliefs espoused, I was like, ritual. I was already on that back then, and that's when I really, and the Frankie kids, absolutely, absolutely. The Hamblins are a perfect example, and allegedly, I have to say it because they've not been found guilty because they never get to go. But they train children. There's other members that bring their children for the therapist, the Mormon therapist, to train their children to ABUSE, their siblings. Remember that weird comment that Ruby, I want to say, said, Ruby Frankie said about her son watching PORN at 3 years old or something, and we're like, what? How the hell? I mean, you have the iPad, you're a parent, you watch and what your children are doing, but not if you're training them to be in the CS, to be exploited, to be passed around. Okay, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. And and we can't even get over ourselves. Like as society, just as a whole, I'm dubbed as like being conspiratorial, or I mean, because that's what our government 3-letter agency, threw out there to gaslight people, to make people not believe people when they're talking about this shit. Okay. And it's bullshit. And I just wish people could see it. I don't have anything else. I just want the truth out there, because we're marking red flags and things, warning people about the wrong damn things if it's not the full story. And it's not. My blood, I will put my blood on it, all of them. My family's blood was spilt over this, so I figure it pays a little way, right? Okay, it pays for this platform, so to speak. That I'm being real, legit with you, honest, open. I have no agenda here. This is just something I'm just like, whoa, but this makes more sense when you really just put it into context of everything. The mainstream account of events is a lot more mental gymnastics than I could ever dream up. Okay. But when you just read it in the context of, okay, they're Satanist and that's what they're doing, they're practicing this. It's all about bloodlines. It's all about being better than other people and competing in these bloodlines. Okay. That's what this is about. And so that's it, and it is about power. It's not about the money and the SEX. It's about the power. It is about the power and robbing innocence and converting people to worship the dark one. Whatever, whatever. And I mean, they believe so hard in the dark Lord that I'm just like, well, damn, why? Why? You know? There's people who don't believe in God at all. Well, but there's these people practicing these dark arts on all these victims. Go check out Diddy, right? And I mean, Tim Ballard was also under a federal investigation in 2020, along with a Davis County investigation. And then it was called off. And then long enough for the movie Sound of Freedom to distort everybody's mind and for their pockets to get really fat. Okay. And then watching Diddy go down. And then here's this whole federal lawsuit against Tim Ballard with the TVPRA, which was the reason people were able to come forward in the Diddy case in New York. Okay. I mean, there's certain states that have this TVPRA, and it gives you a longer um, statute of limitation so that's why victims are able to come forward. And I mean, okay, so don't bitch at them and say, why are you just coming forward now? Have you ever been sexually abused? Because it ain't fun, especially when you're a kid and you don't even know what to call that. You just, what? You split. You dissociate because you're like, what the hell? Okay. And then you're not given the tools to go to anybody. And some people do go to people and they don't get helped. It gets worse or whatever. There's so many different circumstances. Believe victims, please. You have nothing to lose. They're not going to hurt you. They're not going to come and cut you or anything. Okay? Just believe them. That's it. If Tylee and JJ were right here right now, I know some people wouldn't believe them. I'm just saying. I'm very passionate about this. Can you tell? Can you freaking tell? I could make y'all's ears fall off with all the things that I've read and found out. And it's crazy, but it fits. It's crazy, but it fits. Even with the way Lori's acting today. It's crazy, but it fits. It's crazy when I was in the courtroom in Idaho with Lori and she's right there. And y'all know I talk with my face. Even if I'm not saying anything, I'm like, especially when Megan's on, I'm like, I'm like, oh my God. I can't fix it. I'd have to wear a full mask just to cover it. Okay. And I mean, I know that, but I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm screaming at her in my head. And I'm just like, really? We're going to go this far? You're going to go this far without just telling them how this really is. It's so much more deeper than just Lori and Chad. It's the rest of them. And I mean, they have to, they're all in on this, because to have any other narration of the story is to have them be guilty and to look bad. And it's all about image anyway. So there's that. Yeah. The sound of freedom is something Tim is going to miss when he finally gets locked up. Oh, I love the way you think, JoJo. We have to believe our kids. No wonder, as kids ourselves, if things happen to us, no wonder. I mean, and we didn't have as much back then. I mean, I was a late 70s baby. It's global. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going worldwide. Yeah. It's already heading in that direction. Yeah. Now, when I first started listening to satanic ritual abuse survivors, and even today, I believe them, but I'm just like, what? There are some really crazy, bizarre stories, but just because it's crazy and bizarre and I have no base, like, I'm just like, what? That doesn't mean that that person is not recounting their own abuse. So I listen and I'll listen again and I'll listen again. And until things come about, I read more things and then I finally understand it. And so that's on me. They're trying to tell us we're not listening. We're giving them labels. We're calling them crazy and we're making them prove it. Okay. What do you want? Pictures? Y'all are nasty. Stop. They're never going to give us the celebrity names. Okay. It's all just, meh. Anyways, it's very backwards. And it's just idolizing people. So for all the people that believe in God, you're not supposed to be worshiping idols anyways. So there's that part. So drop it. Your worldview is going to get smashed at least 20 times a day. Okay, it sucks. It sucks. But oh my God. Okay, whatever, That's all it is to me now. I'm just like, oh, pink. Oh, and you just name all the people. Yeah, they're all shitty. Not all of them. But I'm just saying those ones are. I'm just like, whoa. So yeah, Epstein, right? Yeah. I shouldn't even said that. But anyways, definitely going in the shadows tonight. Anyways, we'll talk more about it. It just pisses me off. It really does. But I've been watching other shows and it's bigger platforms where they are talking about this stuff. And it makes me not excited, but not excited like happy, but excited like, oh my God, finally, okay, yay, it's being talked about. Okay. It's being talked about on big platforms. Yay. Finally. And the Diddy case is showing a lot of people that this shit exists. Okay. It exists. And I mean, again, that's a double-edged sword because what are they trying to show us? You know what I mean? The other side is all I'm saying. The other side as far as the perpetrators, what are they distracting us from seeing is what I'm like, what's really going on? You always look behind the curtain. Always. Yes, Allie Carter. Yeah. I was watching her right before I came on. She actually said, Sue Ellen sent me, now she took us, she pointed her phone at her TV. She's so sweet. But she sent me a clip of Allie saying somebody was asking about Sound of Freedom, and she was like, mm-mm, mm-mm, that's a Raffiker. And I was like, amen, girl, amen. That's what's that. I mean, I know they're very, very deceitful, but I mean, I've learned so many things that I've picked up on in their language and the things that they say and how they act. They never match up, right? I'm actually putting that video together still. Of I was reading the text thread from X Twitter of Adam Herbets from Fox 13 News laying out the federal lawsuit against Tim Ballard and OUR and Michael Parenta, Matthew Cooper and MS Williams LLC, I think, and Doe's 1 through 100. Okay. 1 through 100. Doe's 1 through 100. And so I've been putting clips in. That's what's taking me so long. I'm overthinking it, and I'm just like, oh, but I could put this in there, and I can't leave this out. And oh my god, So I mean, to me, it's just the mere fact that Chad Daybell and sponsored OUR and they were in town in Rexburg the same weekend that Tylee was red rummed. We don't have many answers around her red rum. We just know it was vicious. We don't even know where all of her is. Okay. And I think that these people have my family's blood on their hands. So I'll probably never, be able to prove that. I can't even get anybody to talk about it. Okay. But I will make sure I'm right here. Okay. Because they all must go down. And that's my part in this, is to expose. That's all I can do. They can kill me. Obviously, they're very good at it. Very good at suspicious deaths. They're very good at ganging up on somebody, cease and desist. They're very good at bullying and gaslighting and just spinning the story. But you know what? I don't give a shit. I ain't got nothing else to lose. So come at me, bro. Anyways, don't get capped. I'm going to get capped. That's okay. Yeah, no, it's not okay. I'll be damned. I'm just saying. But you look at the body count, you're like, well, 1, 2, 3. Okay. They don't play fair for sure. You're in a battle and you don't even know, or they're in a battle and you have no idea what's going on, right? They're plotting right now. I'm just saying. Gang stalk? Uh-huh. Yeah, I really do think that has something to do with the remote viewing portion. I really do. So you're not crazy. Quit letting them label you as so. Except for Lori. She's a little Lulu. She ain't crazy though. Not that kind. Forbid for protection. Yeah. Prayers for protection. Definitely. All right, guys. Love you, and we'll talk soon. Justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe. Love always wins, and you guys are proof of this. I'll see you next time. Look for the Julie Rose stuff, okay? Because it's interesting. Bye, guys.